where I'm sitting anyways in terms of how I feel about this. So the next story is Laurie's story, and I just have to kind of look and see if there's anything in here that really stood out and that I felt I need to talk about. Uh, yeah, I remember. I remember reading Everything Comes from the Earth, and I guess this is one of those situations where sometimes knowing too much doesn't help. Um, People get mad at me when I'm watching movies because I tend to say, well, that's not true. Um, Everything doesn't actually come from the Earth. That's technically false. In fact, all of the energy that we as humans use, I shouldn't say all, the vast majority of the energy that we as humans use actually comes, exactly one astronomical unit away from the Earth, from the sun. Um, the nutrients and stuff like that pretty much all come from the Earth, although an awful lot of that stuff has probably come in the form of meteorites and stuff from the past. I know, I'm a picky bastard, aren't I? But I don't know, it just seems to me I am a picky bastard, but you know what? We're talking about education here, and I mean, this isn't a big deal because it's not really the end of the world if somebody gets misinformation in this respect, because it's not particularly wrong. But I'm a huge proponent of fact. I'm. We had a quote in class yesterday, Tuesday, the 26th of October. We had a quote in class, and it talked about how stories. Actually, it's from this chapter. Sorry, I just remember that it's from this chapter, and it's narratives are not records of facts of how things actually were, but of meaning-making system that makes sense out of the chaotic mass of perceptions and experiences. And that's Josselson, 1995. I struggled with that a lot. I really did. I want to say yes, awesome, but my brain just keeps on saying around, no, the truth matters. And for me, the truth matters. The truth really does matter for me. And I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't a place in the world for simile and for metaphor and for all of those things. But in education, the truth matters because, in some ways it's ignorance that has caused some of our problems. And I just, where do you stop? And, the fact of the matter is an awful lot of people don't take metaphor as metaphor. They take it as fact. And I just think you have to be awfully careful. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but to me, humans have a need to classify things, to place something in a taxonomic order, and I get that. And I understand even that you have to suspend some level of fact in order to do that in a lot of cases. But I guess I need to know where we draw the line. I guess for my intellectual satisfaction, I need to know where that line is drawn so that it is solid. And it's one of the things I think that I've considered a lot since yesterday and over the last couple of days. And I've made choices in my life that were not easy choices. Um, you got onto the bus today before I came home, and we had a talk about how hard it has been for me to shift back into undergrad research, and it really has been hard. And I think this in part plays a role in that. It's the difference between the subjectivity of education and the objectivity of science that I am used to, and man, I've struggled with that. I really have, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's maybe it's the way my brain is wired, and I can do okay with subjective things. I mean, I think I'm fairly intelligent. I may not be a genius, but who is, right? And I mean, it's I've made some hard choices. I ended up here. I don't regret it, but it has to pay off for me, and I am concerned sometimes with the subjectivity of some of the marks, and I fear, in a way, coming up with ideas that are maybe counter to other people's ideas, be it yours or be it a different professor. And I mean, I don't feel like you've offered much to fear. I think actually you're quite fair-minded. At least you have been to me, and that's the only situation I know intimately, right? And so, but it all comes back to this quote: "Narratives are not records of facts," and that's, I think, maybe why narratives aren't used in science so much, and truth matters so much to me. And in a lot of ways, I'm here because I don't see an awful lot of good science being taught in classrooms today. And maybe that's the teacher I want to be. So I guess I'll end it there. I know I didn't get all the way through chapter 3, but I think it does give you kind of an idea of where my head is in terms of that chapter and in terms of the message it has. It's good. The message is good. It's fantastic, but is the message 100% for me? No, I don't think it is. It's a start for me, and for me, fact plays a much bigger role than I think I've seen there. But it comes down to personal things, doesn't it? So I guess we'll see how things work out later on.